Hi, and welcome back to Ignite Success, where I sit down with business leaders and business owners to talk about all kinds of topics like leadership, transitioning from one career to another, and their success stories to inspire and motivate you. I'm Sherrie Clark. I'm your host, and today I have with me Brant Turner. Hi, Brant Turner. How are you? Thank you for joining me.
I'm doing fabulous. Good to be here.
Good. You know, in reading about you, you have a very interesting journey. You went from direct mail marketing, right, to what you're doing now. So just kind of give us like a little snippet of that journey.
Well, I'm from Jacksonville originally, was born in Jacksonville. I grew up at the Florida State Prison in Rayford, near here, and was a genuine cracker for a very long time. I was in Florida politics for a while, worked for a state senator and got him elected to the state senate in 1980. And through the connections with him and other political, I kind of got Potomac fever and ended up in Washington, D.C., where I got into the direct mail business, specifically the mailing list business, which is where I would buy and sell your name to people.
You're the one.
I was the one.
You're the one.
And
okay.
Because of that, I didn't talk about my work much in public. I actively kept a low key because people would have the same reaction that you do. And I'm now retired. I retired last month, and I'm going to be writing a couple of books. I may also become not one of your competitors, but I'm also considering getting into the podcast business. And frankly, one of the reasons why I wanted to come on your show was to see how other people did it.
Yeah.
And so that was one of my motivations to come here. But my first book is going to be about a guy that I met here in Florida who ended up enticing me to Washington, D.C. He was my high school football coach in high school, and he had just come there out of the military. And when he was in the military, he actually worked for the CIA.
Oh.
And I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Apocalypse Now.
I have. I have.
The Martin Sheen character?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That was my friend. He was actually that guy. That was actually that movie, the plot of that movie is actually based on a real CIA program called Project Phoenix, who was run at the time by a mid-level CIA guy named Bill Colby, who you may have heard the name. He later became director of the CIA. I actually met him at a subsequent point. But my friend who was in the CIA, who ended up being my high school football coach, we became friends. Again, I moved to Washington, D.C., and this book that I'm going to be writing is about our adventures and exploits. Luckily, most of it's over 40 years old, so the statute of limitations on many of the things has run out, so we can now talk about them, which I couldn't do that for a long time. But that's going to be the subject of my first book. There's going to be other books as well, and I know that when you introduced yourself, you are a ghostwriter publisher as well, right?
I am.
So I'm hoping to possibly avail myself of your services or services like yours at some future point as well, because I am progressing. One of the things about the podcast idea was I was interviewing my friend who's still with us for the book. And I set up the interview with a camera and lapel microphones in a format similar to this. And, I interviewed him for the book, and it turned out great. And it was good material for the book. And other people that watched the interview said, well, that would work in a podcast. And I'm like, I didn't think about that. So I may do that as well. We'll see. I mean, one of the things is that some of these interviews for the book are going to be with some very interesting characters, like my friend, the former secret agent. He's actually not a former secret. You never actually quit. But a lot of people that I'll be interviewing like that will be very interesting, and I may go ahead and put that as content for the podcast as well, because it'll be, kill two birds with one stone.
There you go. Wow, you've got some interesting plans ahead of you. So that's going to be a nonfiction, right? Your books are.
Yes, it'll be nonfiction, but I may have to fictionalize it because there was a lot of laws broken and things like that.
Got it.
That
Got
I
it.
may end up having somebody help me fictionalize it. That's where I may need some help, like from someone like you, because I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep all the real names and places and things.
Yeah. You got to watch that.
I know.
Brant, thank you so much for being on the show today. I appreciate it. To learn more about Brant Turner, go to iwantabuzz.com. And that's it for this segment, and I'll catch you in the next one.